Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to be doing a little demonstration in the aerial yoga hammocks today. I'm going to demonstrate initially a lower variation of the hammock. It's about just about knee level, maybe a little bit higher for the hammock right behind me. And there's a couple levels that I like to use. The lower level is more of a restorative practice, and about hip height, a little bit more active, but I still call it a gentle. So we'll get going. So this is a great practice to not only calm the mind, but also to relieve stress in the body. And it's really great because it gets into the fascia of the body as well. And so this silk is just about at my knee level, which is really great, easy to get into. So I'm going to flap it out to get a little bit of the fabric folds out of there. And then I'm going to bring the fabric behind me, take a couple gatherings, and then scoot back into it where my arms are in. And then I'm just going to sit down and fluff out the back a little bit. So now I'm in this fabric that as I come to the back side here, I can reach my hands up onto the fabric. And this is one of my favorite ways of getting into the hammock. It's just like a vacation hammock now. So I'm going to get my arms in. I'm going to make a spot for the fabric so my head can come in there. And now I'm laying in the fabric. My feet are barely touching the mat, but I can create a little movement here, which feels nice as well. This is legs hanging over a dock. And then I'm going to bring my feet into the fabric. And as I push the fabric away, I can just get comfortable. So this is so relaxing. Some people wonder, where do I put my arms? Wherever they're comfortable. You could let the hands hang out over the fabric with the fabric supporting the edge of the elbows. Or you could cross your hands onto the opposite shoulder. Or just leave the hands up above your head, maybe bending the arms, whatever feels good. So this can be so relaxing. You might just stay here and take a nap if you wanted. Or you could find some movement. I like to move side to side. This gets into the side body a little bit. And any movement, like maybe faster or slower, just getting into the movement of the body in the fabric, which can be so freeing. We have so much more range of motion here in the hammock. Completely supported. And then you might just pause and just notice how the hammock really holds your body, sort of like a nice hug. And you might get a stretch. You might lift one foot up, reaching your hands towards your foot, and get a little stretch in that leg. I like to do this and just get into the hamstrings a little bit. Just notice how they feel without forcing anything. And then I might switch to the other side. Again, this is just exploring here. How do the hamstrings feel? Not forcing anything to go deeper. And finding a happy baby in the hammock can really start to get into the outer hips nicely. So I'm going to bring my feet to the front of the fabric. So my hands are up here. And the feet are halfway out of the fabric. Edge of the middle foot is pressing against the fabric and my knees are bent just like a happy baby. But instead of holding the feet, I'm just going to relax my arms. So I'm going to push my knees and lower legs and feet out. And this really makes you aware of the outer hips. You could do little pulses or just press out for a little bit and then relax. And then you might relax the legs and bring one leg out and then the other. Again, sort of coming to that starting position, legs hanging over a dock. And reaching my arms up, I'm going to pull myself up to a seat. And usually I like to take a little more time in those variations I was just showing you. So to come out of the fabric, you can hold on to the edge of the fabric or in each hand, taking like the full grasp of the fabric in each hand, and then walking back and just stand up. And there you go, coming out of the fabric. A little bit of static there. So I'm going to come on to my knees, and I'm going to find a clasp of the fabric in each hand, and then I'm going to bring my hands around towards me and then out, and then as I press down, I've got this key wrap going on. So if I wanted to, I could wrap my arms again if the fabric was too low, but I'm going to explore it here. So I'm going to come forward a little bit and come into a cow variation. So this gets into the shoulders. My shoulders are going to be active here. And as I exhale, I'm going to round up through the spine all the way back up to starting. And then as I inhale, I'm going to hinge forward. My hips stay over my knees. A little bit of arch. Oh, this feels great in the shoulders. And then slowly drawing the belly in. Slowly coming back up to the starting point. So if I noticed that the fabric was too low and I wanted a little bit more height, I could bring my arms up another wrap, which I'm going to explore here. And coming forward again into that cow. And my shoulder girdle is active here. And then exhale, rounding back up. Another variation is to go back a little bit and straighten the arms. This is a nice stretch. And then inhale, coming back up. And then again, coming forward again on an inhale. Exhale, coming up. Inhale, going back. And then exhale to come back up. And inhale back into that cow rather. And after you do a few of these, you might be ready to come into another variation, which is sort of like a cobra variation. So you can also bring a bolster under your hips, but the fabric is sort of low enough that I can lower my hips down and come into this variation. I'm keeping my shoulders engaged and my arms are going to stay bent here. And then engaging the core to come back up. And all the way back up. Good. So from here, I'm going to release my grasp of the fabric. And I'm going to bring a block to sit on. I'm just going to grab one of my blocks. Sometimes the fabric is up high enough that you might want to sit on a block. So for this next one, I'm going to bring the fabric behind me and put the block back just a little bit so that I can sit on it. So this makes the floor, the mat, seem not so far away. Coming into Stargazers. This is one of my favorite moves with the hammock. This gets into the upper back and shoulders wonderfully and really gets into the fascia and just really opens up where we hold a lot of tension in the upper back and shoulders. So right now the fabric is up a little bit too high for me. It's under my armpits and I don't want that. So I'm going to just sort of lift myself up just a little bit and rearrange that fabric. So I'm not on the block right now. I'm lifting my hips up to reposition myself. But if you wanted to, you could always leave your hips down on the block to start. But from here, I'm just going to come up off the block And you could also put a bolster under you. So I could also just sit on the bolster like this. So this might be how you start, maybe seated on a block or a bolster, and the arms go back, always supporting the head, hands behind the head, elbows out. And just notice how this feels, looking up at imaginary stars. Thus, it's called Stargazers. And then I'm going to just move a little bit side to side here. And notice how that feels. The fabric should be just sort of right below the shoulder blades. It shouldn't be up under the armpits. That would be a little too high and would be uncomfortable. So if this is feeling good, I might explore coming into a little bit more movement by lifting my hips off of whatever prop I might be sitting on. And if the fabric was a lot lower, you might just be sitting on the mat. So I'm going to explore a little more movement here. Lifting my hips, I'm going to push the bolster out of the way. Hands behind the head. And then my feet are out wide, and I'm going to just find a little movement side to side. So the way I have these anchors up above, it would be a little better if I moved it, the tops of the fabric a little closer together, so it's more of a single. These are a little bit further apart, so a little different setting than I have in the other part of the studio, but it still works. And then slowing down, reaching my hands up. I'm just going to let the fabric slide up my back as I lower my hips down, releasing the arms out, and pause. Oh, that sensation in the upper back and shoulders feels wonderful. So that's the end of this little demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be showing more things you can do with the aerial fabric or the yoga hammock in other videos to come. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.